What is going on, everyone? John Wick Chapter 2 finally hit theaters this weekend. I just saw it, and also I reviewed John Wick, the first one, a couple days ago, and it's on my channel now, so check that review out. And of course, John Wick Chapter 2 stars Keanu Reeves, who comes back once again as John Wick, and I was just so happy to see him back in this role. And in this John Wick movie, John Wick is now retired again, but an old friend comes back to him and wants him to do a job for him. And if John Wick refuses to do this job, he will be killed because of an oath that he swore on. So then he's forced to come out of retirement to do this job. And then eventually, a little bit later in the film, he does have a bounty placed on his head for reasons I will not spoil. Now, if you saw my review for John Wick, I love that movie. I thought it was great. The action in that movie is so good, and it didn't really have to be all that great of a movie overall. It just had to be a great action movie, and that's exactly what this was, and that was what I was expecting with this one. And of course, Keanu Reeves once again is great as John Wick. Nothing changes there. He is a great actor in this role, and I love him as John Wick. He is so kick-ass. I would love to see him go face-to-face with James Bond, Jason Bourne, and Liam Neeson in Taken. I forget the character's name, but those four together in a big battle, free-for-all, that'd be something worth watching. And like the first movie, the action in this movie is so good. The first scene in this movie, we get right into the action. It's this cool car chase scene leading into this fight between all these men fighting John Wick. And it's just so good, and everything is so well shot with all the action. The action is once again incredible. And I also have to give a lot of props to the editing in this movie. That's why the action is so well filmed. That editing is pinpoint on, and that makes the action look that much better. And of course, the movie is really gory too, with all the violence. It's just so good, so gritty, just so amazing. John Wick, oh my god. Of course, you have some pretty good villains in this movie too. Not as good as the first one, but I do think that the villains in this movie were pretty good and also good actors. And I liked how the action in the movie overall is stylized. As you could see in this movie, it's very colorful. Everything is super well shot to its own different kind. And that's what I like about John Wick. It's very stylized looking action. To me, when I talk about this movie, I like to say it's like a retro looking action film, if that makes any sense. But yeah, a very stylized way of filming this movie. Lawrence Fishburne was in this movie. I don't really know if he was that necessary in this movie, though. It was kind of surprising that he was in this movie for only a couple of minutes. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But it was cool to see him and Keanu Reeves in the same movie talking to each other once again. It kind of reminded me of The Matrix, and I thought there for a second that Fishburne was going to ask Keanu to take either the red pill or the blue pill. And also, the reasons why some characters wanted John Wick dead in this movie, I thought that it was a little bit murky and not really all that well thought out, and a reason to make there be more action scenes. I don't think that they really explored the reasons that well when thinking about why this villain was so mad at John Wick and why he was doing what he was doing to John Wick in the movie. That was the part that I was like, okay, this is a little bit murky, a little bit messy. John Wick Chapter 2 is definitely a thrill ride, just like John Wick Chapter 1, and overall, I really like this movie. I don't know if it's as good as the first one, but it's definitely a movie worth seeing. And it's a franchise I'm very excited about. John Wick Chapter 3, I'm sure, will be coming out in about 2 years, probably February 2019, and I cannot wait for that one. The action in this movie, as I've said so many times, is so good and gets me excited for maybe 4 more movies to come. Who knows? I'm going to give John Wick Chapter 2 an 85%. I was very happy to see this one. I'm glad that Keanu Reeves came back to reprise his role as John Wick, and I'm really excited to see where this franchise goes from here. Okay, and I also saw the Lego Batman movie this weekend, so that review is coming up next. Thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.